Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, on the new HPL Sportscast, we are doing our post preseason, how about that, power rankings for the NFL. So, today we have Noah with us.
Hello. Isn't it crazy? NFL season kicks off in less than a week.
It is crazy. So, today we're going to be going through all the teams and our record prediction, going from 32-1. Let's just get it kicked off.
All right. So at 32, we have the Cleveland Browns, and our record prediction for them is a very poor 2-14. I mean, a team that won 0 games last year. You can't really put too high of expectations on them, even if they've made some signings in this offseason and have a little bit of hype coming through training camp. Can't give them too many wins.
And so, I guess we'll jump to the next one. Number
Yeah, we can
31.
keep it going.
Is the Buffalo Bills. And what was the record for that?
We have them at 4-12.
4-12. Yeah, so the Bills, they've made obviously a lot of interesting changes this offseason. Like, they traded for A.J. McCarron and they drafted Josh Allen, but their offensive line is so weak. A.J. McCarron's already injured and out for the season, so they're going right to Josh Allen, and I just don't think that's going to end well, but better than the Browns. So,
Yeah, better than them. Next we have the Dolphins, also 4-12 record. I mean, there's just not too much going on down there. Not anything to be optimistic about. I don't even know if they have any good rookies coming in. I don't remember what happened there
I
in
don't
the
even know who
draft.
they
But
drafted.
yeah, they're so irrelevant right now that no one's really paying attention to them. They did win yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. Preseason week 4, that's good.
34-7, but they just don't have too many bright spots on their roster, so there's really nothing about them.
All right, so 29 is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right, and we have a record. Their record, we have them coming in at 5-11.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about the Buccaneers, like Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, and even Jameis Winston. But last season they showed they're not super consistent, and they really don't win big games. And they're in a real tough division against the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons, so it just really doesn't look good for them right now.
Yeah, not too good for them. All right, and then at 28, we have the Jets, also 5-11 record. You look at the Jets, obviously Sam Darnold, and then they also have Josh McCown. Did they name a starting quarterback for Week 1 yet? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think Todd Bowles said he's still working on it.
Okay, but they have bright spots on their roster. Obviously, Jamal Adams, 6th pick last year, great safety back there. And then they do have a very good defensive line as well. But there's not too much on the offensive side, other than maybe Isaiah Crowell and Terrell Pryor's on their team now. But yeah, nothing much more with the Jets. Just another disappointing year. Next, we have the Colts, and their records we predict to be 5-11.
Yeah, the Colts, I think they could either go possibly 8-8 if things fall right for them, but it really depends all on Andrew Luck because he has not shown to be durable these last couple of years.
Yeah, and who knows how he's going to come back?
True.
Because he could
They have a new coach,
look really good. Yeah, Frank Reich
Oh, yeah.
is their new coach. There is some optimism up there, but I don't know how it's gonna work for them. All right. Next, we have the Bengals, and our record prediction for them is another 5-11. Quite a few 5-11 teams. Bengals again. AJ Green, obviously. Joe Mixon showed a lot of promise in his first year as a running back for them, and then they also have John Ross, Andy Dalton at quarterback, but they're just not good enough, and they don't have enough depth on their team, and a lot of holes on that roster. So a couple of years ago they were in the playoffs consistently, but they could never get past. They kept on losing in the playoffs, and it looks like obviously that era has ended, and now they are rebuilding. And Andy Dalton, I don't know how long he can continue to be the starting quarterback until he either gets traded, cut, retires. I don't know. I just think they need to kind of restart. And Dalton's only 30, but I think he'll be gone soon.
Yeah, he will be.
All right. Next, we have the Cardinals, and our record prediction for them is 5-10-1.
Yeah, so the Cardinals are they're a team that's always just kind of decent, but this year it's just kind of strange because Larry Fitzgerald's getting up there, David Johnson's coming back off an injury, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sam Bradford's your quarterback, which just means you're going to be a bland offense, nothing special, and their defense, they only took a couple losses, like Tyrann Mathieu gone. I think they still have Patrick Peterson, but their team is just
tough for them to do anything. All right. Next, we have, and our prediction for them is a 6-10 season. So last place in the NFC North. They have Mitch Trubisky starting this year, week 1, and he did start a couple games last year. I don't remember how many. I know he didn't start week 1, but all eyes are going to be on him. This is like a huge season for him, second season, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. They did go out and get Trey Burton in free agency. They have Jordan Howard at running back, but again, last place finish for the Bears, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. So at 23, we have the Denver Broncos, and what's the record on them?
6-10.
6-10. Yeah. The Broncos, it's kind of sad. They've gone from Super Bowl 50 winners just, 2 seasons ago with Peyton Manning to kind of just a very mediocre team now with Case Keenum losing a lot of stars. They still have Demaryius Thomas, and I think they still have Emmanuel Sanders, but they're losing Aqib Talib. They're going to start losing big guys like that, and it's just kind of their downfall for a while.
Yeah, it is crazy to think they were, the best team in the league just 2 years ago and had a parade out there, and now it's gone a completely different way. Okay, next up we have the Ravens with a prediction of 7-9. So we're starting to get up to the teams that are a little bit more respectable, you could say. But another disappointing year for the Ravens, who last year obviously just missed out on the playoffs. That Week 17 loss to the Bengals. So very disappointing last year for them. Joe Flacco enters another year as quarterback for this team. The Ravens, they could have. This is a team that could have gone a number of different ways in these power rankings. They could have been further than we put them back, and then also could have been a little bit higher. But you just never know what you're really gonna get with the Ravens because they're pretty inconsistent, honestly. So this was a good spot to put them, and no one's saying they're not gonna maybe push towards 8-8, 9-7, but they could also be a little lower, which is why we settled for 7-9.
Bright future though with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, right. Lamar Jackson, drafted him, which raised the question: when do you let him take over? Well, if he can, I don't know if he's that good.
Yeah,
I don't know if his game will translate to the NFL.
At number 21, we got the Washington Redskins. And
7-9.
7-9. Interesting getting rid of not paying Kirk Cousins and then immediately trading for Alex Smith. I don't understand that at all.
What do you think Kirk Cousins thinks after that? Really? You're just gonna. Do you think Alex Smith is better than Kirk Cousins?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
And how much did they pay Alex Smith? I mean,
I don't know.
He's on a pretty big contract, I would assume.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Redskins don't have a whole lot to look forward to. Some nice 5-yard passes.
Yeah, that's all he does. He doesn't have a deep ball, really. So, with the next spot, we have another NFC East team, the Dallas Cowboys. Also 7-9 is our prediction for them. Obviously, Dak Prescott at quarterback, and then Zeke at running back. And then they also got rid of Des Bryant this offseason.
And Jason Witten, right? He retired.
Jason Witten, right? Yeah, he retired. So they lost some big players. A lot of those all three of the players from that core just like 3 years ago. Tony Romo, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, all gone. I will say they have a really good offensive line. With Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, they're not bad.
Although didn't one of their guys get in trouble?
Yes, I did see that. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was their center, to be honest.
Was it?
I think their center got in some kind of trouble. I'd have to look into it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks like I think it's Travis Frederick, although it says something on here. I don't know what it is. He had some sort of problem. But he looks like he'll still make the 53, what it says. So, Cowboys, it's a pretty weak NFC East this year. Not near the top, but the other teams aren't so great. So then we have the Seahawks at 8-8.
Yeah, the Seahawks are just interesting now. I mean, Russell Wilson's always going to keep them competitive, but they just have a complete lack of everything else at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were also in that point where they were making playoffs consistently, Super Bowls, stuff like that, and then kind of fell off, similar to the Broncos, which doesn't it does happen in football because players leave. Once a lot of times players will leave after they get a Super Bowl with that team because they'll just get paid more money elsewhere, and that's a very common thing in the NFL. Next up, we have the Lions with a record of 7-9. Lions obviously playing a tough division, NFC North, with the Vikings and the Packers, and they have Matt Stafford, obviously a quarterback. They picked up LeGarrette Blount this offseason. That's a pretty good signing,
yeah,
I think.
I mean, he has been in like the last 3 Super Bowls and won them.
Yeah, right. Maybe. Who knows?
You never know, Lions.
23? I don't think so. So yeah, we have them 7-9 record. They're one of those teams where they could go in and beat a really good team, but then they could go and lose the next week to a really bad team. Matt Stafford will help them, win some games, but he also might lose them some games. So just another middle-of-the-pack team here, pretty much.
So, at number 17, we have the New York Football Giants.
8-8 is what we have them.
Yeah, still kind of a trashy O-line, even though they did make some trades. Eli Manning still going to be what he is. He'll be up and down every week. But Saquon Barkley is the next big thing. Is he the next big running back? I don't know.
Honestly, I think he is.
He might be. I hate to say it.
I really do think he is. He's a beast. Like, the runs he can pull off, and watching him at Penn State, I saw a lot of him there. It's crazy what he does, and I'm sure they will utilize him in a whole bunch of different ways. If he's not returning kickoffs, I don't know what they're doing, to be completely honest, because he's just insane. He can do it all.
Yeah, the Giants have a scary offense for sure. Evan Ingram,
definitely.
Odell, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah,
it's going to be scary. They could end up going a lot higher on this list, to be
definitely
honest.
But, yeah. All right, and then we have the Oakland Raiders. Guess who's back?
John Gruden.
Yep, he's back. But we have him at 8-8. Derek Carr, quarterback. He's a good quarterback. What was it? 2 years ago, he had like a really good year, and then last year he got hurt.
He's a big part of their success this year. If he can pick up what Gruden wants, if he can kind of take that step back, they could end up being a pretty good team again.
And Marshawn Lynch at starting running back. Now, he had a really bad year last year, but I feel like is John Gruden's offense not kind of like, pounding the football and like
It
doing
can
that?
be, but
Yeah,
it's a
like
lot of quarterback though.
yeah. And they also have Doug Martin.
Yeah, that's weird.
So they have a pretty good quarterback running back combination. And then their defense, is pretty good. Yeah, wasn't it
they're
really
okay.
good a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it was.
It was
But
like one of the best, but now it just fell off.
yeah.
Um,
And Khalil Mack holding out. You never know how
yeah,
that's
that
gonna
hurts
go.
him.
That's crazy.
That really hurts him. But I did see a report he wants to be back. So they'll get something done, I'm sure. They don't want to start the season without him.
No.
And then next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at 9-7.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs. They can also be another team that can go pretty high on this list, but it all depends again on the quarterback, Pat Mahomes. It is he was drafted last year, right? Or was it this year?
Yes, he was last year.
Yeah,
He
last
sat
year.
out.
Yeah, he sat out. So this could be. He looked decent so far. This could be his big year.
Yeah, it could be. And the Chiefs, they had last year they started 5-0
Yeah,
before
they
losing
did.
to this.
Yeah.
Then they get to the playoffs and lose to the Titans. So, I mean, it didn't work out for them last year. But who knows what happened this year. Next, we have the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. And we have them at 9-7. I mean, look, we should have put him at 16-0.
Oh yeah, he's already
Guess who's
undefeated.
never lost a game?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's never lost a
lost.
game. He'll lose this season though, unless he gets hurt. Maybe he wins 3 and gets hurt.
I hope not. I like seeing them being competitive.
Fun team to watch.
Yeah.
They get Richard Sherman this year, Jerick McKinnon as well.
Yeah.
They have a nice little roster going here.
Yeah.
They get Mike McGlinchey in the first round this year. Good offensive lineman.
Mhm.
Help protect Jimmy Garoppolo, it's really what they need because he's the key to their franchise right now, Garoppolo. So I don't know if they make the playoffs this year,
It'll be
but
close.
they'll definitely be in the mix.
Yeah. So at 13, we have the Carolina Panthers, and what's the record on them?
8-8.
8-8. They're becoming ever since they kind of peaked 2 years ago, like the Broncos in Super Bowl 50. They're still good, but they're not Cam Newton's not the same. You can tell.
Yeah, he's not. I don't know. And you could see it even in the Super Bowl too when that fumble happened and he kind of just tried to get it, but not really.
Yeah, it was
But he's still a
unfortunate.
good quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
And they might be, although the NFC is stacked this year, so I
Yeah.
don't see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, I
but
don't think they're going to be in.
well, do you think this team will be in at 12? Tennessee Titans 9-7.
Yeah, I think they'll be in it, just because the AFC is just not as strong.
Yeah, and they have Mariota at quarterback, which he's starting to become. He's kind of experienced now in the NFL, a couple years under his belt. And then they also have Derrick Henry at running back, and they got Corey Davis a couple years ago, Delaney Walker at tight end. Even though he's a little bit older, he's still a very good tight end. They have a good team, and they also got Malcolm Butler at cornerback, which I don't know how good he's gonna be, but
Yeah, it helps
because
them.
what happened in the Super Bowl, but it will definitely help them. And yeah, I think this team can make the playoffs. I don't know. It's good to see though, because this team was really bad a couple years ago, and now they're actually starting a lot of teams are doing that. Like the Jaguars, they used to be a couple years ago. Well, I know the Browns have always been, but so are the Jaguars, and now
Yeah,
they
they're
make
bad
the
for a long
AFC
time.
Championship game
Yeah.
last year. So it's good to see.
And they should have won. They really should have won.
Yeah, should have won, but they didn't.
Yeah. All right, and then number 11, we have the Chargers. And,
Record for them: 9-6-1.
Yep, 9-6-1. They're tying with the Cardinals because it's the
Yep.
Chargers. But
Yeah.
the Chargers, they could either be a team that crashes and burns and they go 5-11, or I could see them going deep in the playoffs because
Yeah.
you never know. Like their team is always just injury prone. Like Melvin Gordon is always hurt in some way. Keenan Allen's always hurt in some way. Phillip Rivers has been hurt for like 20 years, but it's all right. He's okay. And they're building a good young team.
Yeah. They are, and well, they're still playing in that soccer stadium, but
Yeah.
they'll have the Rams and them will have probably the nicest stadium in the NFL in a couple years, and then it'll be interesting to see what kind of attendance they get.
Yeah.
Will the stadium be half empty? Not if they're making playoffs every year.
True.
All right. Then next up at number 10, we have a team that I know you're really high on, Houston Texans. Have them going 10-6.
Yeah, I really like the Texans. I could see them coming out of the AFC completely into the Super Bowl. Just Deshaun Watson when he was just playing games last season, nobody was stopping him. He was in Seattle when they still had the remains of the Legion of Boom or whatever, and he was still dueling Russell Wilson. They were winning until, I don't remember if they won or lost the game, but he was impressive regardless. And then he went down, and the Texans just kind of spiraled out of the way.
Yeah. And then, they also have a really good roster. DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver. And then on the defensive side, they obviously get J.J. Watt back. You have Jadeveon Clowney, who's really starting to look good, even after those knee problems and stuff. And then they also bring in the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, or however you say his last name, from the Cardinals, who is one of the better safeties in all football.
Yeah, I really like the Texans this season. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah. And then next up, we have the Jaguars at 9, also 10-6. Here's a team, as we said before, who made the AFC Championship last season. Should have won, didn't, but still a really impressive year out of them last year. And then, obviously, Blake Bortles at quarterback. Who knows what's going to happen there? I think he's good enough to be their starting quarterback in the playoffs.
I don't think so.
I mean, look, he didn't play awful last year in the playoffs.
No, he didn't.
And then the defense is absolutely insane for the Jaguars. I mean, it might be the best in the NFL.
Oh, I think it is.
Like, Calais Campbell, Miles Jack,
Jalen Ramsey,
AJ Bouye, Jalen Ramsey. It's just absolutely insane. And I think that's, look what the Eagles did. Just have a really good defensive line. Overall, have a really good defense, and it can get you places. Same thing with the Broncos 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Defense is, I think some teams overlook defense, like when they're drafting and stuff, or bringing free agents, but I think defense is, I think it might even be more important than offense.
Mm-hmm. It's always up for debate.
Know. Yeah.
It's impossible to know. You need both, though. You need a good both.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, so move on to number 8. And, of course, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're always good.
Yeah, we have them going 10-6 this year. It's tough to put them anything other or lower than that when you have Ben Roethlisberger, you have Le'Veon Bell, and you have Antonio Brown. What else do you need?
Yeah, nothing else.
Who knows
and
how?
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
He is going to be a top receiver.
Mm-hmm. Because you look at what Odell Beckham was before he was good. People knew about him, but after he made that catch and after he had that season, just took off. So similar things could happen for Juju this season. Next, we have the Falcons, and we have them at a 9-7, and we have them above the Steelers in this just because they're in a tougher division, and they're going to face more quality opponents throughout the year. And the Falcons, obviously with Matt Ryan at quarterback, Julio Jones on the outside, they have a good team. Do you think they'll make the playoffs? They might get in as a 6, but I don't know.
They're a wild card, definitely.
Yeah. I think it will be close. I think the NFC is going to be a really tight race this year.
Yeah, it is.
And then, they also have Mohamed Sanu, Calvin Ridley. They got this past draft, which I thought was a good draft pick because he was going in mock drafts 8 to 10 or whatever. And then he kept on sliding, and then the Falcons finally got him. So I think that was a good draft pick there. And then overall, the team, I don't know. I think they'll make the playoffs, but just barely.
Yeah, barely.
All right, up next, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and we have them at 10-6.
Yeah, the Vikings, they definitely got better this offseason by adding Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins, basically swapping him for Kirk Cousins and trading away Case Keenum.
Mhm.
And they could definitely still be good. Though they will be good. But after that just complete meltdown in the NFC Championship, I just don't look at them the same.
Yeah. Well, can they get back to the NFC Championship game, do you think?
This year, I don't think so.
No.
No.
I think it's possible, but I think they're definitely gonna have to win some away games in the playoffs, which I don't know if they can do that.
Nah.
They're just a lot better at home. So we'll see what happens with them. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams, and they made a ton of signings this offseason. Just went all in. I don't know how it's gonna work. Jared Goff at quarterback, Todd Gurley at running back, and then defense. I think they just signed Aaron Donald today, an hour ago or
It was
something.
6 years, $135 million. I think it was.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
But getting Marcus Peters at cornerback. They have Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib. I mean Marcus Peters. I already said him. The defense looks really good, and their offense last year.
Didn't they get Brandon Cooks as an addition?
Brandon Cooks, I'm pretty sure they did. Yes, they do.
They are.
They have Brandon Cooks,
team.
And their offense last year was already so good. If I remember the Eagles game last year, they put up a ton of points against a very good defense, and their defense just didn't do anything. So that's what they needed help on. Yeah. They got it.
The Rams could definitely be Super Bowl contenders, easily.
Definitely. And I don't know if they'll make it this year, but they have a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah. So at number 4, of course, we have the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and they're just not good enough to put it 2, which is what we originally had them. But, reevaluating everything and the problems that are going on, they had to move back.
Yeah, they're having some big-time issues. They already got Julian Edelman suspended for 4 games. They lost Brandon Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
They lost a couple O-linemen. And when they drafted Sony Michael, I don't know how to say his name.
Sony Michel.
He got injured. So what do they even have that's besides Gronk? They don't have any offense.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely still make the playoffs. Maybe they'll probably win the division too.
Yeah, they will.
But they could get knocked out early on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No. All right. Next up at number 3, we have the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers signing that huge deal, making him the highest paid quarterback player ever in NFL history. Player. Oh, man. That's crazy. Well, really, quarterbacks, whoever's next gets the biggest deal, basically. Yeah. That's how it works. But this team is a team that could go far in the playoffs this year. Whenever you have Aaron Rodgers' team, you could. And they actually didn't do awful last year with who was their backup last year? What was his name?
Hundley?
Brett Hundley, right. Would they go 500 maybe?
Yeah, they weren't that bad.
Team. Yeah, so when you get Aaron Rodgers back, you're going to be a much better team. And Jimmy Graham at tight end. Mm-hmm. Maybe he has a good year this year. I don't know.
I mean, no more Jordy Nelson, but they have enough young receivers to fill his role.
Yeah, and honestly, when you're looking at the receivers, they have Devontae Adams, and past that, a lot of them are not well known, but maybe they can make a name for themselves this year and be some breakout players, which I think they will be, and people are going to know who they are, because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers will find them, and then, yeah, I think they'll probably make the NFC Championship game, possibly, although I don't know. These last two teams we have are both NFC teams, so it's going to be close.
All right, so at number 2, we have the New Orleans Saints, and they are going to be a very good team this year. Drew Brees, kind of entering the last few years of his career, still did great last year. It's a shame they lost to the Vikings in the way they did. The rookie made a mistake. He probably won't make it again, and they really should have been in the NFC Championship, and they would have been a much better matchup for the Eagles.
Yeah, and when you say that, you mean, like, you know, how close the game would have been, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And finally, I mean, everyone probably knows what this team is because it's the only team we haven't said yet. And, of course, they won Super Bowl 52. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. We have them with a record of 12-4. That is the best record we have projected, along with the Packers. We have them both at 12-4. Eagles. Can they repeat?
It's going to be tough, but it's possible.
Carson Wentz.
It all depends on Carson Wentz, really.
Yeah. And they have good weapons, obviously. It's tough because what is it? They get guys back that we're missing, but Alshon Jeffrey, it's tough that he's gonna be out for the first couple of games, but fine. Even without him, just guys Nelson Aguilar and
Mike Wallace,
yeah, they're gonna.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be fine. And then overall, they have a tougher schedule than last year, so it might be a little bit harder for them, but they should still easily win the division. Still, probably game. And then I don't know if they can make the Super Bowl this year just because it's so hard to repeat. But they should have a really good year overall. It should be a really good year for the NFL. So that's it for the power rankings. I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing throughout the NFL season, but we're definitely going to have some maybe like previews of different games, you know, recaps of NFL weeks, different things like that. Maybe like a power ranking like midway through the year once we get a better understanding of where the teams line up, because, you know, there's definitely going to be some teams at the bottom that might be near the middle of the pack, maybe even like 11, something like that, and teams that we have high up that might get moved down. We're also going to do power rankings for the NBA once the season starts, so look out for that. Probably do that beginning of October, like that. And we're just going to be doing a lot of different things with the NFL and the NBA throughout the season, which is going to be really exciting to do. Just a ton of different stuff.
And, you know, maybe if we get, you know, caught up enough, maybe into some Premier League stuff, maybe.
Some Premier League stuff?
Maybe.
Liverpool?
You
know, great team.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But primarily NFL, NBA, power rankings, you know, recaps, stuff like that. There's just so many different things we could do now that these two seasons have started. And it's an exciting time in sports. Because even if you don't really watch baseball throughout the regular season, the postseason of baseball is great. That going on, you got the middle of the NFL season, and then you got the tip off for the beginning of the NBA season, and just winter as a whole in sports is so much better than summer. It really is.
It is.
So we'll have a lot of different things coming, and this was the NFL power rankings at the end of the preseason, beginning of the 2018-2019 season, and that will be it for today. See everyone in the next Sportscast.